BlizzCon. I mean, right now, if you can continue to get wins, that's going to be there for you. And we're going to see where, if that next win comes in the form of Infernal Shrines. Is No Tomorrow still prioritizing that first pick? Battleground pickup going to be Infernal Shrines here by Simplicity.
This is pretty curious based on some of the philosophy we had before. I know Simplicity just won on Tomb of the Spider Queen and everybody's going Dread. You just talked about their macro, how weak that was. Why, you know, Tomb of the Spider Queen probably not going to look too good there. And I'm still going to hold that true here even in this game, because if we remember, Jay, how Webweaver Phase 1 and 2 out of No Tomorrow, you probably don't remember them. And the answer is because they really didn't get too much done in the process. And so what I'm trying to highlight is that that early game should have been a lot uglier, I think, against Simplicity for some of the Webweaver decisions. They did do some things like getting the gank on the off lane to make sure they mitigated some of the damage, but I'm still not sold on macro being the thing that Simplicity can rely on in any way, shape, or form. And we've seen already, I mean, in the last series, Freedom used constant rotation to just manipulate the battleground and no point of recovery. So I think it's a high-risk battleground for them.
And we saw earlier, just Team Freedom, when they completed their reverse sweep, it was doing almost a lot of everything except for the objective, and that was the type of macro control. It's like if you were to have the ends of the spectrum, that's one far reach of the end of the spectrum on the side of Team Freedom. On the other side, you know, on most of these fights have been around 1 or 2 big team fights to really take control. And it's a matter of just flexing on people in this game or in this series so far. I think we'll probably continue to see that. I am curious on how we'll see the supports play out, whether Alex Straza makes it through or not. But the White Man on this battleground does seem like the potential is high for some of that healing output around the objective.
Oh, it absolutely is. I think if I was to argue White Man's best battleground, at least in my head, at first glance, it is Infernal Shrines, just based on Volskaya might be the other one, right? You have a long period of time around a specific fight where your opponent has to walk through a choke. A lot of White Man's healing output, when you get impressed, it's around her W, right? Yep. But if you can spam your E effectively and get a lot of value out of that in the mid game, I think that's where a lot of her underappreciated. It's not as flashy because everybody's health bar don't go at 100, but that's actually where White Mains are made, in my opinion, is how effective a QE combo or a double QE combo comes through. And maps like Infernal Shrines really promote it.
Simplicity finding themselves one game away, one win away from having a 2-0 weekend. Something that I'm not sure if we've heard from this team all year. I'd have to look back, but
that's a good point.
It'd be good to put on the
small victories kind of list.
Yeah, you print it out, put it on your fridge. This is what I do with my victories.
Yeah, you know, after today, I'm going to be like commentated HGC North America, big smiley face emoji, put it all over the front of that. Diablo banned out, no surprise there. Maybe going to increase the priority onto that Muradin, which has been absolutely key. But I think now maybe a little bit more for No Tomorrow based on that performance we got from Calf there on the Garrison last game. Ban priority. I don't actually want to see a ban towards either one of the supports anymore. Just purely on No Tomorrow's White Main priority and how good Akaface has been on that hero. I don't think it's worth the choke unless you're going to deny the White Main while you Deckard ban, and Simplicity hasn't shown to be comfortable to do that. So they ban a Genji here.
Never Genji.
He does feel like a not even once type hero.
Deckard's let through here, Dreadnought, which says to me that No Tomorrow is more than comfortable picking up the White Main beyond this, so Deckard likely picked up here for Simplicity.
I would actually be willing to argue, watching that pickup right there, I'd be willing to say, I don't know if this is confident, but Akaface may not even think that Deckard is better than White Main level of priority, right? Like being willing to give that to your opponent, it's actually going, I don't even think you're right on the order at which you should be. That should be a White Main denial and giving me the Deckard, but you're going to pick the Deckard, and I know I get myself a White Main. It's the first time we've seen that volunteered, and I know that Aka usually has a little bit different priority, and in my opinion, I'd actually argue a little bit more on the correct side than more often than not. And so I don't think that White Main is that hero right now, but it could be the thought process. Again, based on we've never seen anybody volunteer that out. And then he picks Alex.
We forget
so it goes out the window.
Shrines.
So screw it. All analysis on White Main value is incorrect. Alex is the real OG. Nobody cares about that one.
Nobody cares about their pens either.
I know. I threw it on the ground.
I'm throwing mine. Well, you don't have to be at mine. Dread, you're so what a sweet young man. Thank you.
I'm a gentleman.
You're beautiful.
I don't know about that one.
You have a small face.
Yeah. I'm still a little thrown off by that one. Third ban here for Simplicity, actually towards the Garrosh. This is, do you snap Muradin, man? Do you look them in the eyes right now and you go, You're not getting the Murden then.
I'm not looking you in the eyes because I'm looking at my cheat sheet.
Okay.
No.
I would really like to see the Murden man, though.
I don't think they're going to go it.
What do you think they're going with here? I guess they have their Urel, so in a new? No?
So Diablo's banned.
Garrosh banned.
Garrosh banned. I would have said Johanna on this battleground.
I guess maybe. But if you're going to ban one of those two, I don't ban the Johanna over...
So if you're no tomorrow and you're banning out a warrior and you expect them, well, if they're going to pick Johanna, then they'll likely go Muradin. So if you're no tomorrow, what's your warrior pickup? Because a Nubarak does not complement a Rainer,
or
unless
Blaze.
you're expecting a lot more.
I'm a little confused. Tyrael? Tyrael is the only thing left in my mind here. Phoenix and Muradin, especially after the Johanna ban, not that concerning. What else might be up the sleeve here of no tomorrow? Cho'Gall? Not too much percentage damage on the other side.
You always pique my interest. Ooh!
Look, I'm so excited for the Kael'thas pick. I know you can't see it, but there's a whole pound of beef picked before that makes you just go, I'm not sold.
I love Kael'thas.
I agree. I think he is very undervalued right now. But ETC survivability, especially with a Blaze in the offlane, do not provide as much survivability.
Right? Junkrat for an interrupt?
A Junkrat, or you would be concerned probably with some... I mean, I guess it doesn't matter whatever theory I would come up with on some possible other ones here, since we did get the Junkrat, but...
It complements this map well. It complements the playstyle well. You have a mosh pit interrupt. If we already saw one huge mosh when basically set the tone and set the pace for the game number one. That was set up behind a Dragon Arrow, which missing from that combo is the Hanzo here. Instead, we're getting the Kael'thas. Does have playmaking potential as an assassin. One of the few assassins that has that amount of crowd control. And most recently, and depending on how much you pay attention, there was a buff to both the Flame Strike and the Living Bomb. So some numbers went up. It wasn't anything game breaking, but it just adds to the power of an early game Kael'thas. I think Flame Strike damage is 345 now at level 1. It's
really
up
big.
there.
He also has one of the best crowd controls for a backliner that exists in all of Heroes. Post forward, you have 2 different routes to be able to make that happen. Also, depending on the 13 you take, you essentially have massive CDR, spreading chain bombs everywhere and ultimately doubling the gravity lapse opportunities that you have. I think Kael'thas and Tempest's introduction to that into the Eastern Clash on battlegrounds like this was very clever and definitely something that I've been long kind of waiting for. I genuinely just have a lot of my fears come down to the ETC pick priority after the Johanna and the secondary ban phase, putting themselves in that position, and that's only purely on the Urel sitting on the opposite side of the battleground and Alexstrasza. Both are very territorial and slow approaches on the front and back line for No Tomorrow. And I just can't help but feel like Simplicity is just going to wait until they, again, kind of walk in with a power slide, throw an abundance, get them out of it, and just go, all right, team fight's over.
There was, man, let's talk history.
All right.
2 years ago.
Oh, we're going a little ways
going
back.
into DreamHack Summer.
All right.
There's a Gale Force roster.
Yeah.
And they lived off of power slide into the Kael'thas Gravity Lapse. Akaface was part of that roster. So it does bring back some historical value to this. Obviously, Jin, we know, is the drafter. At least the last we heard was the drafter since he took over for Akaface. Maybe, but there's always some input. And as you said, the Eastern Clash showed that Kael'thas, something we haven't seen really in a while and something we've always wondered. I mean, it was refreshing to see. Trixler and I are sitting. There would be Guldans picked up at various points at the Western Clash. We're like,
oh yeah, take the KT.
Kael'thas seems like it might work here.
Yeah, and one of the biggest reasons I would argue, actually, now that you say that, because I was alluding to the idea of a Gul'dan earlier, and I actually should have probably suggested the Kael'thas purely based on the fact that he does way better at stages 1 through 9 kill potential opportunities due to the empowered gravity lapse than Gul'dan. Far less risky in a lot of the positioning as well and kind of towing the lines. Just overall speaking, since the changes have come onto Kael'thas, personally feel like he's
there's the ping. Shrite's trying to make the play on the bottom here.
Is he going to make it, though?
Just missed. I mean, I saw the pings coming in, and I'm looking. I'm like, all right, Shrite wants to make a play. Unable to land it there, but it is a threat. Zuna, he's under assault here, trying to make his way out. Does get the leap over. See if the assault continues. Akaface does have that low cooldown reduction, unable to confirm, and a camp picked up here by Simplicity.
You did see one of the kind of awkward moments, though, with having the kill toss on your team happen right after that initiation attempt, right? Jay Shrite then said, okay, we failed to get the kill. That's totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and start prepping the minions on bottom so that we can better initiation elsewhere. But what that does mean is once the reinitiation comes in, Raynor does not equate to Kel'Thas for the exact same reason I was talking about the Gul'dan versus Kel'Thas. And Power Gravity Lapse, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the best early game CCs that just flat out exists, because even if you try and answer and move in to help the kill target, you're probably just going to get lifted off the ground yourself. A little tornado massage, you know? Is that what a Lornado does? I think that's probably a Lornado action. You know, I'll find a better way to describe this.
I don't know, the way you wiggle in a gravity lapse?
It's just like... It
looks like it feels good.
It's comforting. Yeah. No, I think... Let's just say this. If you told me it would cost me $5 and I could take a real-life gravity lapse, I'd spend the $5.
Yeah, Dread's Twitter on Monday will be announcing the opening of his new business.
Free gravity lapses for everybody.
No, what? Gravity lapse massage? Well, a tornado massage.
A tornado massage.
That's going to be the branding and everything. Tornado massage.
Two-man gravity lapse. Scroll the ceiling.
Ooh, you can sign up for single gravity laps. You can sign up for couples gravity laps.
But you could have a triple
group gravity laps if you want to go with your friend.
Oh my goodness, we can empower 3 of them. All it's going to cost is a passive and a couple seconds of your time. 5 skeletal defenders to 5 skeletal defenders here, ladies and gentlemen, over this shrine. First of the game, while Shaman split pushing up top. Jay Shrite there on the Kel'Thas, making his way out from bottom. When he joins, that's when you can expect the fight. Keep in mind, these skeletal defenders are very, very difficult for the gravity lapse. Expect 100% he has to empower his gravity lapse to have any amount of CC. And you want Casanova to power slide away from those minions so he gets as many as he can. There we go. Empower gravity lapse number 1 there. Goes on a K1 Pro. The chain bomb coming
through. That was interrupted.
They got the damage out. That is the first to drop. And the Thompson are getting thrown away with that concussion mine. Gets the E value out of that heal along with Akaface. No tomorrow. Gained a lot of control here over that first shrine.
I was really surprised that we saw Phoenix stay in there so long, because the Plasma Cutter actually revealed the ETC there, and ETC, one of the best things that he does, especially when you're playing with a skill shot hero, don't press your W. Wait till that skill shot's done. QW is nice, but that damage is not worth it. You use it to interrupt abilities. Once that warp showed up, it was an easy W, easy kill beyond that. So really good play there in coordination for No Tomorrow.
What are we going to see there at 7? Goes for the auto attack, I believe, on the Kel'Thas.
Get that spell power for Pyroblast.
It genuinely changes the approach to the team fights, though, and how the Kel'Thas will play out. It's one of the few heroes, I would argue. The 7 has a huge hinge other than the support role. So it's going to go with that spell power, as we were talking about there, looking for that big value on top. Or at least
gank squad is 2 warriors and a support.
As you can see, probably not the best idea.
You know, give him the axe is nice, but we're nowhere near stacked up and up. 13 stacks at level 1. Nothing to scoff at. And of course, the damage does come in, but the self-heal in the early part of that.
Skeletal defenders being kind of left lingering here. This is one of the more depressing moments of Infernal Shrines if you're Simplicity. Even if you go all the way back to the 39, you know it's just a matter of time till they go, boop. Nope, that's mine. Protector picked up. Or Punisher picked up, excuse me. See if it gets baited over the wall and how much damage there is. It's already a 1-3-1 split defense. Can't help but feel like that's a little bit more light on the damage source than I'd like to see. I say that for Simplicity on the defense, especially considering Blaze with the rotation. I can't, oh man, if Jin was a little bit more aggressive with this kind of transition, that's the moments where I feel like Simplicity would really end up struggling here. And they do get a 5-man collapse. Look at the scroll of ceiling. It's going to be a 3-man.
And that Punisher's out of fort range, which means that's putting shots. There's going to be 1 down onto Alexstrasza. Casanova just able to walk away as he was the one being targeted by that K1 Pro. He's going to track him down. And so nice play again by Tiger JK to get all of that set up. That's 2, make it 3 for Simplicity.
J-How, it feels like this series is a constant back and forth between No Tomorrow getting objectives, winning upper hands, and then will Simplicity just fight them on a siege? It is over and over again. Simplicity, or No Tomorrow gets the upper hand, and Simplicity goes, all right, we're just going to dive. We're going to bring the fight there. I do want to bring it back to, I think Jin's rotation was the right rotation with not enough power behind it. If you notice, he moved from very kind of right to left in that approach where he could have flanked from either one of those ganks above, set up a kill there. And then once they ended up losing all the minions, as you said, you know, great SOS kind of thrown out there by Simplicity with that scroll ceiling, lock in 3 members, get yourself a kill.
It was...
Can we make that a thing, by the way? Just call it the SOS?
Only if you're sending out an SOS. You like my singing voice, by the way?
Not really.
Yeah. All right.
It's just.
Do I remind you of Korea?
I just feel like mainly that's. Oh wow, that gravity lapse, max range, concussion mine there. But even if he hit that, surely the chain bomb would have gotten the kill. Still yet to confirm whether or not going to move into the pyro blast, but I can't help but feel like that is going to be our heroic selection.
Yeah, when you go to level 7, I mean, obviously it's very strong, right? But it adds to your spell power. And speaking of spell power, Pyroblast is coming out. King Caffeine uses the avatar, gets the Dwarf Toss. If you could have Dwarf Toss earlier, you get that 25 armor on that, so you'll see that timed out if he does succumb to that again. But the spell power is the main thing at level 7 because there are other options, percentage-based damage, but coupling that definitely is something you play around. Wait, hold on. Is that a Planet Cracker as a response? Oh, if you're going to mosh pit and stand still, I will just fire you down.
Could be the answer. Also pretty good clear on the Punishers themselves. Like, it's not too shabby, especially when backed with a double minion wave. It is a little interesting, though. Not what I expected. Also, a couple of tight chokes around some of these shrine fights. Not so much when looking towards top, but a little bit on mid. Top, there are great chokes, but not Planet Cracker chokes. Gravity Lapse hits here onto King Caffeine. No avatar available. Knockback there to stop the Dwarf Toss. Very clean kill there for No Tomorrow.
It's one of those things that if you find yourself on something like a Jaina versus an ETC and there's no interrupts, the best way to stop an interrupt is to just kill him. So if you're able to do that, that is something I think maybe Planet Cracker is here for. We'll be curious on the setup between the 13 and 16. We see oftentimes the combo of getting shields off of your autos at 13 plus extra damage as long as you have those shields is normally a 13-16 combo. But when you go Planet Cracker, because the cooldown is so much longer, we oftentimes see people go into the cooldown reduction at 16 and then maybe an adaptation at 13. So we'll see if this Phoenix build maybe adapts towards that style of play.
One of the things I enjoy about that 16 adaptation is because it impacts all parts of his play, right? You can get more warps, you can get more plasma cutters kind of thrown out. Zuna questioning if he wants to siege. Doesn't look like he's going to get the full commitment there. 3 members of No Tomorrow still working on top. They are bettering their Shaman over that of Simplicity. And Simplicity here is actually going to be losing a lot, Jay-How. This is a little bit different than your standard off-lane pressure. We don't have a 13 talents here because the Shamans were sacrificed on top, and then No Tomorrow's winning with their Shaman while Raynor is prepping the front wall for free. This is a huge victory. Planet Cracker coming out after the Stormbolt. A lot of fireworks, but not too much success.
Speaking of fireworks, more fire being spread around there. The fort taking damage onto that. King Caffeine did complete his level 1, but Shrite is dishing out fire to anybody and everybody that wants it. Did go cooldown reduction at 13 now.
This is when Kel'Thas becomes a problem.
Yeah.
This is the moment where I just like sit there and like if, you know, Kel'Thas had a very evil mwahaha laugh, like I'm definitely embodying that, you know? Rather than screaming salami, Ash Eleanore, or whatever he's got to be able to throw around there. I'm ready for that.
The salami, that talent actually got nerfed, but still very strong. There was a minor nerf on the cooldown reduction.
As long as you just constantly open team fights with an empowered W and then get yourself a second W and start poking prod in there. Love it. Hyperion drop to be able to help with the siege here. Arcane Punisher doing its best to make something happen, but in the end, really just going to be able to help with this keep front wall. Not full commitment there to ensure the race to 15.
That surprises me. That's a
that's
huge
actually
chunk of XP right there.
I would say.
Get it? Yeah, they get it.
I would still say, you know, thought process lies there. I would like to see No Tomorrow put a little bit more interest into that. Zuna finds Casanova. Jay Shrite just out of range there for that gravity lapse. That was an empowered one, though, so definitely a weakness in the skirmish if it will unfold for a second. Camp now started by Simplicity. No Tomorrow are so close to 16, Jay, how we see the standard trade-off at this time. It's up to Simplicity to maybe force a fight. The fact that they aren't invading shows that they're worried about a pretty far-out fight, for that matter. Likely a 18 into 16 defending through a Punisher, which not sure the Planet Cracker has enough cool tools to be able to deal with that.
We haven't even seen, so the problem that we normally see is if you're trying to avoid a team fight and you know, say, no tomorrow is towards the bottom, oftentimes it's, well, we need the experience, so we're going to sacrifice something, and you would see like a push maybe to the top lane to get top fort to get back into that 16 race. But because this bot lane was already diminished in terms of how much it had left in it, that fort would have just been walked through easily, and then your bottom keep wall would have been under assault. And so it's kind of a give and take, right? It's almost like Alarak. Are you willing to trade some sadism, you know, for this? And it's always a trade-off. And King Caffeine, let's see if he trades off as he's going to find Casanova.
Not too aggressive there for No Tomorrow Police quite yet. It's going to be nice to be able to finish off that well, though. Seems like a subtle thing at this stage of the game, but we know how often teams, while that fort's alive, they'll be willing to prioritize that. That thing conveniently lasting that long was definitely nice for Simplicity. But here we go. No Tomorrow still questioning, kind of sharking around if they can find a kill. This is the cutoff I was hoping to see before.
He sniffed it.
Interesting choice there. Notice how when the reveal happens, two people back out and Jay Shrite moves forward. And I think that's interesting because, number one, Jay Shrite has the crowd control to make that a not-so-difficult situation, but it just shows comms a lot of the thought process there, right? Jay Shrite knows that his role in this game is that setup-follow, whereas Raynor is like, if it's given to me on a platter. And I can't help but feel like, you know, a little bit more of forethought on how they're going to approach those, either the all-in or everybody backing out at once. See if that costs them later on here as Sean McCamp just being mirrored here from both sides.
No cooldown reduction for Phoenix, instead going into the standard, getting shields at 13 and doing more damage with shields at 16, so the synergy remains. So Planet Cracker will be on that long cooldown as well as every other ability, but it's just kind of been the norm when we see Planet Cracker because of the length of the cooldown. You know, we haven't seen our mosh pit being ripped yet. Now in these choke points, we've got ourselves a 16 versus 16. See Casanova's positioning as everybody comes in. You mentioned the chokes and the way things happen. See if Casanova can take advantage of that.
Oh, Power Slide going to come out. Gravity Lapse. Actually, Ardent Defender popped very early there. Skeletal Defenders 10 to 10 here for these two teams. Keep in mind, I can't help but feel like if history is going to repeat itself, No Tomorrow should win this. And then it's the counter siege of Simplicity that really is going to set them ahead. Jin moves forward with the jet propulsion along with the Riptire blowing up, getting a little bit of damage. 22 Skeletal Defenders here for Simplicity, slightly ahead of Simplicity as that scroll ceiling locks down 2.
Shrite and team continue to come out. The Dragon is out, holding position, getting every ability he can. That thing's about to wear off as Casanova making the positioning happen. Zuna and team, they're getting locked in. Lornado out. Cleansing Flames are here as well as the Hyperion. They want this Punisher. It looks like they're going to get it.
No Tomorrow is 3 away now from securing it. They will end up getting that. The Pyroblast coming through with the Chain Bomb over the wall. Potion's going to be there. King Caffeine survives. Bunker dropped. No Tomorrow, pick up the Punisher, and now we'll be able to rejoin with it. Here we go. This is the fight that I was talking about a little bit earlier that I thought they would have to be able to take, but taking the skirmish over the objective itself. Now Simplicity take the 18-16 into the keep defense. Nice bait there from Hosty. There is a big silver lining here, Jay-How, in that top lane, though, for Simplicity.
Should take that fort out while they see the defense here in their mid keep. They might end up losing out because the pressure and this Punisher are so strong here that will net them some XP to at least fight towards that 20 tier as time goes on. But for now, keep should fall. That Punisher should have enough punching power there to finish it off, and they recognize there is enough there. They're going to walk away, but we've got the follow-up return maybe getting locked down here.
And as we said, oh my gosh, the Planet Cracker actually going to go down. King Caffeine trying to keep himself alive in that corner. The Riptire comes in and just does a little bit of leapfrog, blows up Jimmy. Casanova trying to retreat, but the Heroic Cube is enough to get the slow. There goes the Power Slide. Zuna picks up another kill. And that is the lockdown there. 3 members of No Tomorrow are now dead. And Jay-How, my goodness, after 4 or 5 games
top
of this
lane,
year,
baby.
Simplicity just hold off every siege, bring back the fight.
Okay, hold on. Dread, you said, oh, that top lane, and I'm like, yeah, it'll get the fort. Now all of a sudden they got 4 kills. They're getting more than a fort here.
They are about to get themselves this keep and probably going to be the game. Chain Bomb spread damage is not enough. Zuna needs to make sure that doesn't spread. There we go. And as long as that doesn't happen, there is no worry about losing this game. Simplicity looks like they are ready to be able to take this series. And as we said, what seems like a statement gentlemen, we never felt like we would say go 2-0 here this weekend in their doubleheader.
Here we go. The Living Bomb is trying to spread and do the damage. Pyroblast not going to be able to take out King Caffeine. Shields have fallen here on the side of No Tomorrow, and there's nobody that's saving this game as the Lornado, it's going to zone out multiple members, and Simplicity has done it, coming back, losing the keep, but the long-term game plan have come through and secured this victory 3-1 over No Tomorrow.
For any of you that tuned in to the broadcast here on Friday and got to watch Simplicity perform and hear the words of Hosey afterwards, I can't help but feel like you are just sitting in there and you're going, ooh, because it is a dark time, you know, a struggling time here for Simplicity, but they still show the mental strength and will here to overcome No Tomorrow, and teams still trying to find their roots, but can't help but feel like it's impressive to be able to see that level of mentality to hold their own, always kind of on the back foot in these games, but still find the W.
For everybody that picks up a camp without intention, this is a prime example of why, one, you pick it up during objectives, right? A Shaman camp, especially, some of the best pushing power in the game. It was getting top 4. That gives you a large chunk of experience. It warrants a response over due time. It gives you control over that. But this is one of those times you got max value, absolute max value. They ended up getting the quad kill there, and that Shaman camp had pushed so far that it opened up a win condition. It's a long-term win condition generally, but that's one of the situations where you're like, this is optimal circumstances. If you've ever heard of that, that's the one.
Yeah, it went from if that camp isn't taken, you wipe, you clear top 4, maybe get a keep front wall and call it a day.
That's it.
And call it a day. Then it goes to, wait a minute, we aren't losing this game, to, oh, wait, we can win this game purely based on the Shaman timing and the fact that it was able to win over top of the Shaman as well. And again, as you said, that's all about that offlane prep. Not only when you're getting them, but then why are those offlaners always off doing their thing on the side lane? And why aren't they worried about this camp right here? That is it, ladies and gentlemen. It definitely hurts, but clever play here from Simplicity. I feel like it's fitting the team that you know, wasn't so dominant in the macro all the way through, ends up winning through such a clever mercenary play like that.
Deckard, he's a heck of a hero, because if we go to that part, Planet Cracker started to clip Raynor, but he was just out of range by a few pixels.
Yeah.
And instantly that Lornado comes in and hugs that wall. We see Alex Strauss-Akave's put down the heel and just pushed him right off of it. That was the catalyst for the start. Then at the end of that scroll of ceiling that hit at the very tip of ETC might have been enough to say this was the game.
Yeah.
So Tiger JK is like, hold on, I got to play. Hold on, I've got another play. You know what? Let's just make all the plays. You guys do what you do. That was impressive ending right there by Simplicity. Tiger JK, man, maybe it's more Deckard, maybe it's Tiger JK, I don't know, but Deckard's a good hero, and Tiger JK did really well on it.
Well, I will say the one thing I noticed when I was watching Tiger on the Deckard, his different element, I guess, of flavor that I feel like he provides on that hero is exactly that. It's not even alive just in that game. It's the chasing. Every game, Simplicity won here. They did not win by winning an objective. They won by answering to a losing objective. I actually would... I can't recall every fight off the top of my head, but I'd be willing to say almost every single game they won by losing an objective and then team fighting after, wiping, and then going to end. And because of that, it was the Deckard in a lot of those situations. Not every game did they have it, but a large majority of it was abusing. If you notice, he doesn't double stack his Horagic Cube with his scroll ceiling all the time. He's willing to offset them, so the retreat is very difficult. He makes it almost Medivh-esque because you can't run away from the portals. He just, instead of giving his team the portal, he's giving you the slows.
Well, we have Hosty for the second time this weekend. I don't know how often we've been able to say that, but Hosty, a 2-0 weekend. How you feeling?
Oh, quite relieved, honestly. Those games were the opposite of clean. We were actually losing those games, and we came back from losing the objective, getting the kills, pushing top, ending.
The last game, the Shaman camp timing, I mean, Dreads pointed out, he's like, oh, you know, here's a silver lining. There's a Shaman camp, it will get the fort, keep you guys in the game. But max value out of that, it ended up clearing and opening up that win condition. When you started to get those kills, at what point are you in that chase? You get 1 kill, obviously 2, ended up with 4. At what point in that are you saying, get this kill, let's end? Or is it just, wait a minute, we've killed 4 people, hey, I think we can end?
That's something that Zuna actually brought up before they even won the objective. He's like, you know, whatever, they get the objective, we're really good at defending, we get kills, we end. And it happened, so it was perfect.
It's amazing the way that's played out. Hosty, we heard from you on Friday saying that your team still has a bumpy road ahead of you as you continue to work towards what your power level is expected to be. But you've got a double win weekend here. I mean, obviously, you look at the schedule. This is a redemption weekend for you as you lost to No Tomorrow and LFM before. How satisfied are you after today's victory?
Oh, I just feel like I could take a massive breath of fresh air, honestly. Like, it was quite stressful, knowing that we lost before. I think we actually played better before, but we got the losses. This time against No Tomorrow, we played worse, but we got the win. So, I mean, anything can happen in this game.
It was a fun day to watch for sure. I'm going to send you over to Dread.
Thanks, Jay.
I got to hear a little bit more about the thought process on the response, because number one, being an ex-teammate of Zuma, I can definitely hear him in comms going, it's fine. We're going to be able to do this. It'll be easy. We'll win the game. Whether or not you believe it, probably a different tale, right? But that level of confidence in having that wasn't the only time we got that level of play from you guys in response to a major objective. Was that at all a game plan? And when it happened, were you guys, again, thinking we're going to respond to this well, or is it just, hey, hopefully they make a mistake?
So I think Zuna played the macro side really, really well. There's twice I think that we actually got the Shaman Camp to get a lot of value. It's happened on other maps before too, where we realized we probably lose the objective. Let's try to maximize the macro. As you know about our team, we're not the strongest macro team, but it's something we have been working on. So I think that showcases it pretty well. And Zuna did say, it's going to push, and then if we get kills, we end the game, and that's exactly what happened.
It felt like there were multiple kind of moments, though, especially when looking at Tiger JK onto the Deckard, where you guys felt like it was like, okay, here's the moment where No Tomorrow looks for a siege, and there's like Death Bridge, for instance, that we got onto the Sky Temple, things like that with K1 Pro. It's like, was that again at all the long kind of game plan at any point, false sense of security for No Tomorrow and get the punishment, or is that kind of the on-the-fly decision-making that Simplicity has, and again, showing your guys' team fighting capabilities?
I think that does showcase our team fight capabilities. As far as Tiger on the Deckard, he just shined. Honestly, this entire weekend, his Deckard play was phenomenal, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. We play a bunch of different supports, but this weekend we were like, this is working, so we're gonna stick with it, and then we have another game plan if they end up banning that out or taking it early, which they didn't. So, yeah.
That was really awesome play there coming out from you this weekend here, Hosey, and congratulations once again there on the win. I'll give you back to JL.
Thank you, Dread.
All right, Hosty, you guys picked up. This was a needed weekend for you guys to win both games. The standings, we took a look at that before. Getting the victories helps you guys climb out of Crucible range and near getting to that solid playoff spot. When you look ahead of your schedule, obviously it does nothing but get more and more difficult. These are the bottom two teams that you faced. When you look ahead, who do you have targeted saying, all right, this is winnable, these are the teams that we feel more comfortable with? Is there a team in particular you're trying to get those wins when you look forward to solidify that spot in the playoffs?
So, Octalysis, Tempo, Freedom, Endemic, all really great teams coming up. And then the Gods, Heroes, Earth. So right now, the next couple of weeks might be a little bit rough. Like I mentioned before, we have some real life things coming up that is unfortunate. But for the Freedom and Endemic, that's when we're gonna kick it up to super speed, and we're gonna go really, really hard, and that's where we're gonna look to make some big upsets.
Well, I just want to ask. Clearly, you had to have seen what Octalysis brought out this weekend. They are your next opponent. How do you even begin to prepare for what you saw this weekend?
So I feel like they've probably practiced that quite a bit, and they have a lot of weird things lined up. So maybe the best way to fight that is with something even weirder.
Oh,
That's all I could say.
Is that a promise?
I'm just saying.
Is it a promise? Hosty?
If a Sylve ends up backdooring a Keith, don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, now you're just trolling me. Now you're just trolling me. Hosty, man, congrats on the 2-0 victory today. I know you've got some shout-outs, man, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, J-Hal. Okay, first and foremost, I really want to give a big shout-out to Tiger. He's been grinding really hard, playing out of his mind on Deckard. So if you guys want to check out a support gameplay stream, check out sim_tigerjk. Simplicity, our sponsors, our org, amazing people. Thank you so much for all the support. Keep it simple. Shout outs to you guys as casters. You're doing a phenomenal job. Twitch chat, I love most of you, 99.9%, most of you. And my hostages out there, oh baby, appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, Hosty, congrats, man. Have a great week.
Thank you, you too.
I love that Hosty's approach to taking on Italysis. I feel like as many players' approach to Hero League is when things get wild in the draft and you go, how do I save this draft? The answer is you don't try to. You just get weirder with it. You got to just don't try and fight. Don't try and fight the role. You got to just go with it, boys. We've got an Asmo. We've got a Murky. What's my response? Obviously, TLV. Like, just whatever wild thing you can contribute.
I think you're onto something.
Hey.
I'm looking forward to next week.
I am
looking
too.
forward to next week? Because we got
am.
Friday's schedule ready on how we get next week started. Because it will be an EU Roll20. If you're wondering who the heck that is, that's the Zealots roster picked up by Roll20. They're going to have a tough task against Team Liquid. Dignitas, the kings of EU, they'll be going up against Granite Gaming. But woo, we've got a special Friday in North America next week, Dread.
We do there with Tempo Storm taking on Team Freedom. And after the performance we got from both of these squads here in week number 1, that one's going to be an interesting one with Freedom against LFM not going how we expected, and then Tempo bringing the fight to Heroes Hearth Esports. And then, as we have said, Octalysis, the team with the solo Urel, the Tank Zool, however you want to describe it, the unique meta against Simplicity here, trying to still kind of make a name for themselves. And after today's games, I feel like they very much did.
I don't even know what to make of that soon. Now that Hosty's given us the, hey, the best answer for crazy is crazy, I don't know what to make of that. Next Friday, you know, EU's nice and all, but man, the action is going to be in NA on Friday night. I'm gonna be ready for that. If we get any type of weird, you know that I love it.
I hope we get a Cho'Gall or a major backdoor strategy if it's going to get that wild. I really do. Those are two of the close enough to meta, but just far enough off that I'm like, oh, I love to be able to see it. Anything you can do, beta backdoor, you know, whether it be Bloodlust, you know, anything with Sylph, things like that. Let's make it happen.
I like where you're going with this, Dread. I hope that this week passes quickly because next Friday will be upon us before you know it. Thank you all for hanging out with us here on the HGC. That will conclude our weekend. We will see you next week in the Nexus.